Arc measure.
All right, formula for arc length. One more time.
Over 360.
Oh, hold on. Arc measure over
360.
times
And then times circumference.
the circumference, which is pi diameter. Do you guys agree? All right. That's why I've suggested you guys keep your notes in a spiral so you have all your formulas ready. Arc measure divided by 360 times pi d. And what does pi d stand for?
Diameter.
The d is diameter, but pi d is the formula for the what? Circumference. Okay. Compute the length of arc AB. Choose the correct multiple choice. All right. So it's going to be, what's this arc measure right here? 90 over 360 times pi times d. What's the diameter if the radius is 16? 32. All right, I'm going to write 9 over 36 times 32 over 1 pi. Now, you don't need to put the 1 underneath the 32. You do not have to, especially if you're plugging it in your calculator. If you plug it in, you just type in 9 fraction 36 times 32. Should you type in the pi key? No, because the pi's are written here on your answer. I'm going to do it by hand because it is fairly easy. 9 goes into itself once, and into 36 how many times? 4. And then 4 goes into 32 how many times?
8.
So what am I left with? 8 pi centimeters. Now, if you don't like that, can you just plug it in your calculator the way I've shown you? Yes. Did anybody plug it in their calculator, this fraction over here, and get 8 pi? You did it the way I did it, or you plugged it in your calculator? And it came out? Yes. All right, 8 pi. Questions? Number 2, yes.
Just plug it in like a fraction.
Yes, when you plug it in, you use your fraction key. So I would type in 9 fraction 36 times, was it times 8?
Yeah.
No, times 32. And then it comes out to be 8. Make sense? Okay. Guys, the length of arc AB is 4 pi. Find the radius. Is this a problem where I'm working forwards or working backwards? Backwards. So I'm going to use this formula here. Arc length. They gave me the arc length. What is it? 4 pi. Equals arc measure. What's the arc measure? 45 over 360 times pi d. Do I know what the diameter is? No. Do you agree once I find the diameter, I can then use it to find the radius? What is the relationship between the diameter and the radius?
Radius is half of the diameter.
Okay, did you guys hear her? She said the radius is half the diameter. Do you guys agree with her? So question again, once I find diameter, can I use that to find the radius? Yes? All right. What's nice when there's pi's on both sides? What happens when I divide both sides by pi?
They cancel out.
Are all the pi's gone? 4 equals, I'm going to reduce 45 over 360. Does anybody know what that is? 1 over 8 is correct.
1 over 8.
Yes. 360 divided by 45 is 8, or 45 over 360 is 1/8. All right, how do I solve this? There's more than one way to think about it. Instead of dividing by 1/8, I can multiply by the, what's the math word? Instead of dividing by the fraction, I can multiply by the
Reciprocal.
reciprocal. What's the reciprocal of 1/8?
8.
So D equals, what's 8 times 4? All right, D equals 32. If the diameter is 32, what's the radius? And how do you get that? Cut it in half. All right, questions? You're over here. All right. Write the formula used to find sector area. Sector area formula is very similar to this one here. Who can tell me what it is?
Yes.
Is it still arc measure over 360?
Along my line.
Arc measure over 360, but instead of pi d, it's times what? Pi r squared. All right, so why is it pi r squared? Because this is the area, and the area of a circle is pi r squared, where this is length, and the circumference of the circle is pi diameter.
Yeah.
Make sense? Okay, so compute the area of the sector for DOE with central angle being 210 degrees. All right, so 210 over 360 times pi blank squared. What do I plug in for the r? What do I plug in for the r? 2. Do you guys see that? All right, I'm going to reduce, or at least cross out the zeros. 21 over 36 times 4. Has no eraser. Pi. So you can type it in your calculator, 21 over 36 times 4, or you can cross-reduce. Anybody have it? The final answer is 21? But no, when there's not a... All right, guys, plug it in your calculator. Some of you are just sitting there with the calculator sitting. Type it in as a fraction, not a division. Thank you. 7/3 feet squared. No, she can use hers. Your fraction key is right. Can I just put it up here to show? All right. Guys, I do want to show you, those of you that have calculators like this, because it does come out to be a little different. 21, your fraction key is right here where it says ABC. 21 fraction 36 times 4, and yours will come out as a mixed number. That looks wonky, but that means 2 1/3. Can you see that big 2 is the whole number? 2 1/3. Can anybody tell me how you would take 2 1/3 and change it to an improper fraction? Okay, he said times and then plus. What's 2 times 3? Plus 1 over 3, and is that the same answer we ended up with over here? Yes or no? All right, I'm only telling you that because when you're using the calculator and you end up with an answer like 2 1/3, and the answers on the final are improper fractions, you need to know how to change it. Got it?
Wait, there's 2 times 3 plus 1 over here.
Yes. 3 times 2 and then plus 1. All right. Taking a look, what is the formula to find the area of a polygon when using the apothem? Yes.
1/2 apothem, well, times apothem times perimeter.
Good job. 1/2 apothem times perimeter. And she is correct. Did you have that in your head or you looked it up in your notes?
Notes.
Perfect. And that's, again, you want to keep your notes somewhere where you can reference them when it comes time to study. Okay. Moving on. When we had this, do you guys remember the first thing we did was break it up into how many big triangles? 3. So we did 360 divided by 3 gives me what? Divide by to find out what these big angle measures are. 120? Do you guys agree that the big angles in here are 120? But the apothem is the perpendicular line that goes down right there. So what do I do with the 120? I cut it in half, and what do I get? 60. And where does that 60 always go? In the top corner. Whenever you divide by the number of sides and cut things in half, it always goes in the top corner. So if this is 60, what's the bottom angle over here? 30. The hypotenuse is the easiest. That's the 2A. Who remembers where the A goes? Opposite the 30 or opposite the 60? Good job. And then opposite the 60 is A root 3. Now I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of the harder types of problems. So if you're not paying attention, you will be struggling. Valente, is there any way to move your desk so that you're facing us instead of the wall? Thank you. All right. So, can you guys tell me what leg I'm looking for? The horizontal leg, the vertical leg, or the hypotenuse? Horizontal leg or vertical leg for the apothem? Is it the horizontal, vertical, or the hypotenuse? Do you agree this is the apothem right here? Not because it's called A, because it's not always called A. All right. We're given the hypotenuse. What's the hypotenuse? Do you guys agree it's 4 root 3 given to us? Put your phones away, please. All right. So on this side, I'm actually going to do it over here because I'm running out of room. 2a equals 4 root 3. 2a equals 4 root 3. If I'm solving for a, what should I divide both sides by? I heard somebody whisper it. If I'm dividing by a, 2. Adam, please turn around. You're taking a test. A equals, what's 4 divided by 2? 2. So 2 root 3. A equals 2 root 3. Is that the leg I'm looking for? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to read the question because I made this big deal about apothem. That is the apothem, but what are they asking us to find in this problem? The side length. So technically, am I looking for the apothem? No. This is what I'm looking for. Can anybody tell me what that is in relationship to this graph? It's one side. It's this. Is it this base or double this base? Okay, so once I find this base, I will double it to find the side length. Do you guys agree? Okay, here's where it gets tricky. Because kids see this being 2 root 3 and they're like, wait a minute, this is the root 3, not that. So then they mix things up. Please stop the talking. Okay, there are some rare cases where the A has the root 3 in it, which means when I plug it in here, I'm going to have 2 root 3 times what? Root 3. So I'm going to have 2 root 3 times root 3. Are you done?
Yeah.
It doesn't go in there. It goes on my laptop. 2 root 3 is coming from A times root 3. What's nice about multiplying root 3 times root 3? It's root 9, which is just 3. Do the radicals cross each other out? Yes? What's root 3 times root 3?
9.
Root 9, which is
3.
3. And what's 2 times 3? So this little leg is 6, so what's the whole side length? 12. Questions? Does anybody feel like, okay, it's kind of coming back? Yeah, but not yet. It's still early. Yeah, thank you. I'll get it to you in a little bit. All right. I'm going to flip the page to part B. He needs what? Get out of here.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Doesn't mean you guys shouldn't be paying attention, though. All right, guys, I'm going to have you start this one on your own. At least start to label the side lengths as being 20 and figure out from there what you're looking for. Go ahead, start working it out the best you can. Guys, I need to talk to you. Stop, please. Guys. With this one? Oh, I thought you said I'm so confused. You hungry for math? All right. Yes.
I got an A on this.
Guys, gentlemen, if I give you time to work, that doesn't mean it's free time where you're giggling and doing everything else. Gentlemen, put that away. Thank you. Put that away. All right. A regular hexagon has a perimeter of 120.
Yes.
So I'm going to redraw this triangle. And I need to know one of the side lengths. What am I going to do? Connor,
It's 10.
can you tell me how you got that it's 10?
Because one of the sides is 20 and then you half it, it's 10.
Okay. Can you tell us how you knew that the side lengths were 20?
Because 120 divided by 6 is 20.
Perfect. Did everybody hear him?
Because 120 divided by 6 is 20.
Okay. I'll repeat it. He said 120, which is the perimeter, divided by the number of sides is 20. And then he cut it in half and got the 10. Do you guys see how he did that? Okay, who can remind us? I just reviewed it with you. How, gentlemen, how to find this top angle? 360, thank you, divided by 6 equals 60. And then what do we do with it? Cut it in half. Thank you. And where does that go? The top or the bottom?
Oh, got it.
Which means this bottom one is 60. Hypotenuse is always 2a. Where is the a? Opposite the 30 or opposite the 60? So this is a, which means this is a root 3. Do we agree? Okay. The formula is 1/2 apothem. Where's the apothem in this picture? The 2a, the a, or the a root 3?
A root 3.
Is it always going to be a root 3 in every single picture?
No.
When it's a hexagon, yes, but not when it's the triangle or the square. So you want to be careful. All right, so 1/2. What is the apothem if it's a root 3 given a is 10?
A root 3.
10 root 3
Yeah.
times the perimeter, which they gave us. What's the perimeter?
120.
120. Now don't plug the root 3 in your calculator. Type 1/2 times 10 times 120.
1/2 times 10.
Or 10 times 120 divided by 2. And what do you get? 600?
Sure.
600 root 3 meters squared or cubed if it's area. Squared or cubed? Squared. All right. All of these are definite need to knows for the test. All right. You guys, phones are put away. You're not doing work for another class. You're only doing yourself a disservice if you're not making the time right now to prepare for the final. All right. What is the formula used for finding the volume of a prism or cylinder? Volume equals, I'm going to just put the most generic one there is, area of the base times the height. What does big B stand for?
Area of the base.
Area of the base. Now, is it going to change depending on what the base is? Yes. If the base is a rectangle, what's the area of a I know that doesn't look like a rectangle, but what's the area of a rectangle? Length times width. If your base is a circle, what's the area of a circle? Area of a circle. Pi radius squared. All right, please stop, gentlemen. If your base is a triangle, which is this one here, what's the formula for the area of a triangle? 1/2 base times height. All right, we're going to do that now. 1/2, this is your base, and this is your height. How do we know that? Because with any triangle, when you're doing your formula, your base and your height are always perpendicular. They gave me the 15. Is the 15 the height or the hypotenuse? So when I do 1/2 base times height, am I going to use the 15? No, because the 15 is not the height. Anybody know what we're going to do to find the, I'm going to call this x, to find the height?
Oh, A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared. What's that theorem called?
Pythagorean's theorem.
Good job. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and do that now. Plug it in, subtract, square root. Do it now. Everybody should be working. When you subtract the 144, what do you get?
81.
81, and then what do you do to both sides?
Square root.
Square root, and what does x equal? 9. All right, so when I do the volume equals, this is the area of the base. What is the area of the base? 1/2 base times the height of the prism. Now, I write it like this because there's two heights, the height of the base and the height of the prism. Do you guys see the two heights? 1/2 12 times what? What's this height that we just found? 12 times 9 times the height of the prism. And what's the height of the prism? What's the height of the prism? 18. All right, 1/2 12 times 9 times 18. Plug that in your calculator. 1/2 12 times 9 times 18. Anybody have it?
972
Thank you. 972 what?
inches cubed.
Inches cubed. Good job, because it is volume. Okay, are we good? All right, next piece. The volume of the rectangular prism is 108 inches cubed. All right, what is the value of x? Choose the correct multiple choice response. Are we working forwards or backwards on this one? Backwards. How can you tell? Because they gave us the volume and they're asking for one of the sides. Now, this should be the easiest one on the test. What's the formula for the volume of a rectangular prism? You learned that back in elementary school. Length times width times height. Volume equals, what's the length? 12 times, what's the width? Times, what's the height? Does it matter if you put 12 times 3 times x or 3 times 12 times x? Or 3 times x times 12? No. And what should I put here for the v? I'm going to erase that. What should I put for the v? 108. 108 equals, 108 equals, did you say that's 36x? Do I divide or subtract? Divide both sides. Go ahead and do that now. Again, this should be one that everybody should be able to do come test day. Anybody have it? Plug it in your calculators. You all have them on your desk. What does x equal?
3.
3. So 3 inches. All right. This one, when was made, that little 4 snuck in there. It shouldn't have been there. Can you just cross it out? Okay. Now, remember the formula for the volume is area of the base times what? Height. What's our base when it's a cylinder? What is it? What's the base? What shape is the base? Circle. What's the area of a circle? Pi r squared times the height of the prism. Go ahead and do that now. Plug it in. What's the r in this problem?
7.
What's the 3? What's the height?
7.
All right, so plug it in. 3 squared times 7. Do not plug in your pi. What do you get? 63 pi feet cubed. And it's cubed because it is volume. All right, questions on any of this so far? Yes. It was when we copied this from another worksheet, we just like pasted the 3 on top of it just to make it a different problem, and the 4 snuck up. And it's 9 times 7. Okay, we're ready? What is the formula to find the volume of a pyramid or a cone? Gentlemen, enough. All right, what's the formula for the volume of a pyramid or a cone? It's still area of the base times height, but what fraction does it have in front of it? 1/3. Good job. Big B for area of the base and H for the height. Gentlemen, please stop. Don't forget, the height is your perpendicular height, not your slant height. Okay, a square-based pyramid has a base edge of 18. Because it is a square, what's the side length of all of its edges? 18. All right, and a slant height of 15. Calculate the volume of the pyramid.
And then just A squared plus B squared is equal to 15.
Yes. Okay, so he's saying, can we use Pythagorean's theorem? Does everyone see, first off, that the 15 is not what I'm going to use in my formula? Because that's slant height, where I should be using the actual height. Now he's saying use A squared plus B squared equals C squared. This is the height. What is this slant height right here? 15. And what's this base leg right here? Be careful.
9.
Why is it 9? Because it comes right down the middle of the 18. So H squared plus 9 squared equals 15 squared. Go ahead and do that now. Everybody's writing this down, working it out. And again, these points go in towards your final grade, meaning this homework is worth more than regular homework. It's not something you want to slack off on. Yes?
How, in this case, how would you know, like, the 15 is, like, in the hypotenuse place?
The slant height is always in the hypotenuse place. All right, what do you get when you subtract your 81? H squared equals what?
144.
Thank you. And then what do you do to both sides? And what does H equal? 12. So if H is 12, now do we have enough to find the volume? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Volume equals 1/3. Area of the base, what's the area of the base in here? What 2 numbers do I multiply? Because it's a square, 18 times 18, times the actual height, not the slant height. And what's the actual height? 12. 1/3, 18 times 18 times 12. 1/3, 18 times 18 times 12. And then feet cubed at the end. Tell me when you guys have it. I have 1296.
That's what I got.
1,296 feet cubed.
I have a question.
Yes.
When it says area of the base, you know the big B, you do the length times width times height to find it?
Area is not length times width times height. You're thinking of volume.
Oh, I see.
Area is just length times width.
Oh, okay, and that's how you got 18 times 18.
Exactly.
Okay.
Did everybody hear that? The big B, she's asking, was the big B, guys, is the big B area of the base, and the base is a square, so that's where the 18 times 18 came from. This is the big B. All right, questions? All right, next one I'm just going to set up for you, let you finish so we have time to look at our test. The diameter of a cone is 12 meters. The slant height is 10. Compute the volume. Do I use slant height or the actual perpendicular height? Well, we have to do Pythagorean's theorem again. Okay, I'm going to start you off. What's this leg right here? And don't say 12. 6. The height's what we're looking for. And what's the slant height?
10.
So I have 6 squared plus h squared equals 10 squared. And after you do that, you plug it into 1/3. What's the area of this base, since the base is a circle? Pi r squared times the height. What's the radius for this problem? Don't say 12. 6. You're going to have 6 squared. The height you're going to find, and then you plug it all in. Yes. Any questions on it? Yes. Really quick before you head out, Jaden, tonight's assignment is Unit 10. It's the next page. So you finish this, of course, and then Unit 10, which are numbers 7 through 20. Everybody hear that?